Hey, everybody. Welcome to Takeoff with John Clark. And let's welcome in a special guest. He's got a lot on his plate right now. Let's welcome in Devon Allen. And if you don't know the story, Devon Allen has been in the last two Olympics, and he is right there in the 110-meter hurdles here in America. And you can see him this Sunday on NBC at 4 o'clock. And he is going to be facing the reigning world champ, Grant Holloway, in the 110-meter hurdles in the New York Grand Prix. Devon, we appreciate your time.
Hey, John, thanks for having me. How you doing?
I'm doing great, but I mean, you're a busy guy because, you know, you played at Oregon, you played football at Oregon, and then you kind of put, okay, your NFL dreams aside, you were chasing the Olympics and the 110-meter hurdles and all these things. So I wanted to start by asking you, how come you decided at this point that you would sign with the Eagles? You're kind of chasing two things at the same time right now.
Yeah, well, it was always part of the plan. Originally, when I suffered my second knee injury in 2016, right after the Olympics, I decided, hey, maybe I should just focus on the track thing for this cycle, which is the 4 years leading to the next Olympics. And after that cycle, I said I was going to give myself a chance to play. I would have been 26 at the time, but with COVID and everything, pushed everything back a year. So it took 5 years, and now I'm here.
So you decided to sign with the Eagles. You had a workout with them. You visited the NovaCare complex in Philly. What do you think are the prospects of you with the Eagles? Like, what's your mentality of how far you can make it with the Birds?
You know what? I think I have a good opportunity to play some good football and help them win football games, whether that's, a wide receiver or, kick return, punt return, running down on punt and kick, special teams. I know it's been a while since I've played football, but I played it my whole life. So hopefully it's going to be like riding a bike. I spent a few weeks out in Philly for OTAs, learning the playbook, learning the offensive scheme, doing some more football related stuff. So I'm feeling pretty good about it. I know it's going to be a lot different than what I experienced in college, but I think I'm excited and looking forward to it.
Can you tell me how it is different preparing for the NFL and you're going through the OTAs and workouts, and compare it to the training that you do for this race coming up this weekend?
Yeah, I think the training is similar. Obviously, with football, there's a lot more mental aspect, film study and going through plays and knowing the playbook and learning defensive schemes and stuff like that. But the training is pretty similar. I train to be as explosive and as strong as possible on the track, and that's pretty much what I'll be doing with football. You think of it in terms of me running a route every play. I'm running 10, 15 yards, accelerating full speed. And that's pretty much what I do in the hurdles, right? My goal is to get to 15 yards to the first hurdle as quickly as possible. And then by the time I get there, it's really just a rhythm kind of thing. So the training's similar, and, I feel good doing both so far, and it's been going well.
How about the mental part of it? Obviously, you've been doing the 110-meter hurdles. You've been competing well in those. And then when you arrive with the Eagles, they give you that huge playbook, and you got to learn an offense. How difficult is that part of it, the mental aspect, getting all of that down and then trying to get that down on the field in OTAs?
You know what? It definitely is difficult. A lot more difficult than I thought originally, but that's okay. I think the biggest thing for me is just reps. It's like learning a new language. You can see it and practice it in your head so many times, but until you start speaking and doing it, you're not going to really lock it in. So once I get to training camp and we start doing a lot of reps and I start getting some practice stuff, I think it's going to be pretty comfortable. And I did get a little bit of a head start with OTAs and learning the offense. So at least when I get to camp, I'm not going to be seeing this stuff for the first time.
Now, how are you juggling this? Because you got a big race this Sunday, and the Eagles just wrapped up their OTAs. They're on break now till training camp. How much experience have you had over the last 2-3 weeks with the Eagles and also trying to prepare for this big race?
Yeah. So actually my last week at OTAs was about 2 weeks ago. And so I was doing only football stuff for the last, a month ago up to 2 weeks ago. And then the plan was to spend last week in Philly and then spend this week getting ready for the Grand Prix in New York. But unfortunately I got COVID. So I took all of last week off and didn't really do anything. Not really the most ideal recovery situation, but my body feels a little bit fresh in terms of I wasn't training and kind of pounding, myself into the ground. And so I feel fresh. Not a lot of training on my end, but I'm confident that, all the training I've done before OTAs in March and April is going to kind of show through now.
Since you've had COVID in your training for this race, are you feeling anything in your lungs with your breath?
No, not really. Yeah, COVID didn't hit me quite as hard, which, I feel pretty lucky. I got the vaccine and the booster and all that. So I was sick for about 10 hours. And then I kind of snapped out of it. Obviously I didn't want to be, getting other people sick. So I kind of stayed, on the D-low, stayed at home and didn't travel out to Philly to go to OTAs because, that would have been not a good thing if I got my teammates sick as well.
And you can watch maybe clips or you can study the playbook more. Was that a lot of good mental
Oh,
time?
yeah. Actually, the good thing about technology nowadays is I can go to every meeting. I'm sitting in on every meeting every day via Zoom, just like we're talking. And I can interact with the coaches and see everything they're talking about and go over the playbook, have it right in front of me with my iPad and all that stuff. So it's pretty cool. The technology is amazing. And I haven't really missed much other than the on-field stuff.
Nice. Now, when you show up for the Eagles, first time in a while you've been around football. You come in basically being known as a track guy at this point, been in the Olympics. What are the Eagles saying to you? Are they busting your chops a little bit? Here comes the fast track guy. Like, what are they saying to you?
You know what? The overall sentiment has been pretty positive. My teammates are excited that I'm there. They seem to be pretty excited and think it's cool that I was the track athlete and the Olympian. And, some of the guys came out to the pin relays a month and a half ago as well. And for the most part, I think my job is just going to be the fast guy. I'm one of the fastest men in the world. So I need to be able to show that on the field. And that's something I'm hoping to do. And it'll be about 10 days after world champs will be when I report to training camp. So I expect to be the fastest I've ever been in my life.
And you'll have it official.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
All right. So when I'm looking at the 40 times here, I believe you ran a 4.35 in the 40. Is that right? I just want to make sure I'm right.
Yep.
And I'm looking at Darius Slay, for example, when he was coming out as a corner, 4.36 as a corner, one of the fastest. Has he challenged you at all to a race? Anybody like asking to race you to get this official?
You know what? I know Slay is very fast. I know he's a little bit older. I'm not going to talk too much crap because I'm the 27-year-old rookie. But some of the guys, kind of be like, oh, let's race. And I'm okay with that. But me being a pro track and field athlete, I don't race for free. So I was like, all right, we'll race, but $10,000 a race. And nobody took me up on that yet. So
that's great. How about Devontae Smith, Quez Watkins, John Hightower? I mean, running down the field for a deep ball, do you think you are the fastest on the birds?
For sure, definitely the fastest. I do know, and I do think we definitely have the fastest receiver core in the NFL, and probably one of the best receiver rooms in the NFL as well, just in terms of talent, with picking up AJ Brown and Zach Pascal in the offseason. So it's pretty exciting, and I think we have a lot of weapons and a lot of tools. And I think, when you have so many athletes, that's always a problem, but a good problem to have because now you got to figure out how to get these guys the ball. Right. And I think it's going to be a cool season. And Jalen Hurts has been doing great. I'm very, very impressed seeing him kind of just control the offense and make throws that he has been making. So I'm excited.
So what has that been like on the field work with Jalen Hurts? How much have you done with that? And guys have talked about his improvements with footwork, getting the ball out quicker and his accuracy. What have you seen?
It's tough because I haven't seen him before this year and I think he looks amazing. So, but I also haven't been, with an NFL caliber quarterback since I was in college. I've been having my track coach who played quarterback in high school and a little bit of safety in college throw me routes. So it's much different him throwing the ball to me versus Jalen Hurts. But, I think he's going to do great this season and I'm looking forward to, just being able to compete. And, I think they made a run in the playoffs last year and I think we can do even more this year.
What did you think of Jalen Hurts as a leader, the way he commands the huddle?
He is a great leader. I think something that's important is to try to build relationship and rapport with all your teammates. And the first week I was there, he invited me over for dinner, and we had like a crawfish boil, and that was like a day before the pin relays, and so that was pretty cool. Like this guy doesn't owe me anything. He doesn't have to say much to me at all because I'm like the 6, 7, 8 receiver right now on the depth chart just because I got there. And, he made an effort to get to know me and do all that stuff. And I think that's something special about this team is, all the guys have really made an effort to be present and get to know everybody on the team and to build strong chemistry. Because I think once we get into the trenches and, bullets start flying, that's when, great football teams kind of, band together and play for each other. Right.
So, of course, it was going to be a Southern meal, right?
Oh, of course. Hey, and it was good. I haven't had crawfish very many times in my life. And he told me that the second, third, and fourth batches were going to be a lot more spicy than the first. So, and he wasn't lying for sure. I was definitely feeling it the next few days after that.
That's pretty cool that Jalen does that. What did you learn about him that you maybe didn't know from having that personal time with him?
Well, I think his music taste is very unique. He's kind of like an old soul at heart. So, something I grew up with my parents listening to oldies and, old R&B and hip hop. So he pretty much has that on blast full time in the locker room. And so that's pretty cool. And just kind of getting to know his mentality and growing up and, the elite level athlete that he was, that he is, you can kind of tell with just how his dad raised him and the kind of sports he played and how he competed. And, I didn't know much about him other than what I've seen on TV, right? And when he played for Alabama and Oklahoma, but I'm very impressed.
And when you see those receivers that you talked about, when you think of a numbers game, they've got a lot of talent at receiver. Have you been able to meet A.J. Brown yet? And has he given you any good advice, or have any of the guys given you good advice?
Yeah, I've met all the receivers. I've been down there for a few weeks, and for the most part, all the guys are very receptive and trying to learn from each other. I know there was an interview with AJ saying that he's learning from Devontae Smith, and I'm learning from both of them, and Greg Ward and Zach and John Hightower and Dion and all those guys that are around because they've been doing it. And even the younger guys, Britton Covey and Carrick and those guys that just showed up recently have a lot to kind of give and teach all of us as well. Because we're all good at something, right? We're all one of the best players or the best player on our football team when we played in college. And that's kind of how you evolve in the NFL, is by taking advice and information from everybody else that's been doing a great job and doing well. So if I can just mimic Devontae Smith or AJ, I think I'm going to be in a good spot.
And what do you think of the Eagles offense? Nick Sirianni's got these guys for his second year now as a group, which is really good. What do you think of the different skill positions they have in the offensive line as a group?
Well, the offensive line, I can tell you this, is probably the best in the NFL. These guys are just, one, it's obviously a different size game going from college to NFL, and just the athletes we have with Kelsey and all those guys. And then Dallas, tight ends we got moving in, and even our rookie guys are making great plays as well. And then, like I said, at the wideout position, we got Smitty, AJ Brown, Zach, and Quez Watkins, Jalen Rieger. Guys that are receiver ones on pretty much any NFL team in the country. And we're going to be all battling for playing time, which is pretty cool because, when you do that, the level of competition goes up, and that, increases the performance and makes everybody play better.
It's funny in the NFL, sometimes a receiver may only get 2 balls thrown his way during a game. It depends on what's going on with the defense. Can you compare the mentality of a football game when you're competing to the Olympics and the stage where you're training for like that one big moment? Like, what's the pressure and mentality like with those two things?
I think it's similar. I think the goal is to be prepared and train for the opportunity. I had a coach, Jimmy Radcliffe, in college, who's our strength coach. He used to say good skill, instead of good luck, because we practice too hard and spend too much time doing, on the track and on the football field to when the opportunity arises, we make a great catch or make a great play or run a fast time. It's not luck because we spent so many hours doing it. So I think just the, overall training and preparation is very similar. And I think, the athletes that are in the NFL and in the Olympics are the ones that have taken advantage of, that opportunity and being prepared for it.
So with your hurdles, have you been able to show that off in any of the OTAs? I know there may not be much of an opportunity, but are you able to put that into your football game when you're out there on the field?
I mean, specifically, no, I haven't hurdled anybody. And to be honest, like some of the OTA stuff, and they do a good job keeping everybody fresh and healthy. And I think that's a very veteran move by the strength conditioning staff and the NFL coaches. And so we really haven't had too many days where we're just flying around. A lot of walkthrough, a lot of, routes on air and stuff like that. So I haven't really opened up yet, but I plan on doing that when I get to training camp.
Did you use that move at Oregon?
No.
Oh.
I didn't get the chance. The funny thing is I feel like people kind of know I'm the hurdler, so they're not going to go low on me. They might go for my head.
Yeah. Well, we wish you the best of luck in this race. I mean, it's amazing what you're juggling right now. Once again, it's Sunday, 4 o'clock on NBC, the 110-meter hurdle, and you got a shot at the reigning world champ, Grant Holloway. Do you get like a game face like you do with football going into these things? Is there like a, pumping yourself up, listening to music right beforehand?
Yeah, I think I'll probably listen to some music before I start warming up, but I try to keep the routine as similar to training as possible, because everything I'm doing in training is muscle memory and muscle movement, and so I'm just going to kind of keep the same flow, and my coach is going to be there, and so I'll just kind of joke around with him and get ready to run. But I feel pretty good. I feel confident. I'll be fresh going into the race, so I'm excited. And it's always great to run against fast competition. Grant Holloway being one of the best in the world, second fastest of all time, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that is very cool. And we look forward to your journey coming up here while the rest of the Eagles, they're able to relax for the next 6 weeks. You got some big races here, and then you start training camp. And is that when you kind of really start all in on football training camp?
Yeah. So I'm running up until World Champs, July 16th and 17th. I'll race, and then I'll get 10 days off, and then right into training camp. Report date, I think, is the 27th or 28th. And it'll be all football right there. I'll put the track spikes away for at least six, 7 months.
Well, hopefully you can come into the Eagles locker room with a couple medals or the official time of the fastest guy. So I'll wish you good skill, not good luck.
Thank you. I appreciate that, John. Thanks for having me.